just the filing cost for a 501c3 is $867. So for the average size charity, that is a bar to entry of basically 20% of your entire annual revenue just to get permission to do business as a charity, that's just ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. But that's if you are filling the form out by yourself. It's just $860 fee. Fact is, if you do that, you're probably never going to become a 501c3. You probably need to get legal representation to help you fill that form out so that it's filled out correctly so that you don't get rejected. And we have some awesome lawyers that Sean's helped us, but the fact of the matter is that most lawyers aren't free. So the amount of money that you have to put into getting one of these applications filled out is astronomical, especially in ratio to how much money the average charity actually deals with on an annual basis. That's just terrible. But it comes back to, Sean's office is never going to get permission to feed people. Matter of fact, even if it is outright illegal to feed someone, we're still going to be there. They're going to have to take us to jail. When it was illegal to give blankets in Pensacola, like it was illegal to give homeless people blankets in Pensacola. Megan and I were in the streets. My wife Leslie was in the streets giving people blankets. Matter we upped our blanket ante, like during the ban. We're like, oh, that's more blankets now.
There was so much support when we
right, because like you gotta come arrest us. Like we want that news story, please. But they don't want you to do that. They want you to sort of get in line, and you sort of kowtow and get into this. You just get into the mindset that you do need to ask permission. You need to do that, and then then you start focusing on that aspect of it, and you stop focusing on being effective at your mission. And again, it's just like the for-profit, non-profit mission. If this was a profit business, we would be. No one would have any problem with us optimizing for how can we best help our customers. That's just good business. Let's figure out how we can best serve our customers. It's the same thing, they're just the people that we help. We don't consider them customers. Functionally, that's what they are. That's the end user there, right? So we're functioning. So how can we best efficiently and best serve those people? That should be the goal. And then when you add any of this overhead in, where that you have to take away from their core mission into this regulation stuff, ultimately you're making your organization less efficient and less effective at doing what it's doing. What was the cooperative portion of your question?
Basically how some of the distributed autonomous corporation is similar to a digital co-op. How could that model be applied to the nonprofits?
Yeah. That's an interesting idea. I think the concept of a DAC is taking the mission of the organization and encoding it transactionally in its operating system. So probably the closest thing to a working DAC today would be the proof of concept Ethereum code. And the idea being that you could create a series of instructions in a programming language that take donations one end and then distribute them the other end. Now, probably at the moment, you probably can't direct specific charitable functions through that, but what you could do is you could create an umbrella fundraising organization. For example, if there's a foundation that is an umbrella group for multiple charities, you could create a distributed autonomous corporation that takes donations in one end and then distributes them with certain percentages to all of the different charities while tracking the money at the other end and doing the necessary reporting. So you could potentially do that. But I'm not sure, because the real question here is not how you make it work, because, for example, Sean's outpost is in 501c3, it still works. The question is, how does the government view what you're doing and how you're working, and whether they allow you to get tax, to give tax deductions by proxy to your donors? That's the only question. You work anyway. The only difference is that donors to your charity can't get the tax deduction, right?
No, not really. Yeah, I think so. I do think that once we start talking about tax, there's a lot of stuff to it. I think that we could take the core ethos of what it is to be Sean's Outpost or what it is to be a direct charity or whatever, and we can voluntarily we could agree on what we want, what the parameters are that we want to spend our money on, things like that. And if there are wages, you can put those into the system to make it where you take some of the human error out of it, and you can automate all those processes. I think that's something we can bring to it. We don't have that yet. We're ways from that right now. I think that's something that we could see come out. And then I think that there's a lot in terms of like becoming a distributed organization, maybe not completely autonomous, but like a distributed organization in terms of like an internet, say like it's an international version of Sean's Outpost, right? Where we have multi-sig across, where there's people on multiple continents that are signers on transactions, and so like literally if they wanted to shut down Sean's Outpost here, they couldn't take the bitcoins away from us, and then we would just other parties that were on that were available addresses would continue to function and do the mission of Sean's Outpost, even if they took a node out. It's me, it took me out. The functional portion of Sean's Outpost could continue to run. I think a lot of that stuff, we'll start seeing a lot more of that kind of thing. It's sort of, I like the idea of creating a nonprofit that's like Kaiser Sose, right? So it's it's there, everybody knows it's there, right? But you can't really put your hand around it, but people get fed and people aren't homeless anymore, but there's not you can't go to the office and knock on the door and it just happens. I think that would be awesome. Get that going.
Especially you're really at risk at times of being arrested for felony premeditated blanket giving.
Yeah, Andreas just got the one-liners all day.
I don't know that I have a specific answer to this, at least not technologically speaking. Philosophically speaking, I think it's really exciting. At least in the sense of we don't have a charter or anything like that, but at least in the sense of the way we conceptualize ourselves, Bitcoin.com is a decentralized organization with all avoided titles like director and things like that. And at the same time too, a lot of what we do is open source, and so if somebody else wants to do a Bitcoin.com action in another city, that's perfectly fine with us. When people ask us where we're based, they say we're based on the internet because he's from Florida, California, Drew is from Phoenix, and we have between 5 and 10 members depending on how you define it. And we've only been around for a year, but I really like the idea that there would be little cells in other places that I had nothing to do with, and the logo just started popping up places where people were being fed and clothed. That is very exciting to me. And if there's a technological solution to that, that's great. But there's already a conceptual solution to that. I mean, this is Fight Club, right? I mean, isn't Fight Club an autonomous, decentralized corporation? I mean, it's just we can't talk. So if it's your first night, you have to feed.
There's some theoretical ideas on this. So we had said, okay, so look, because you can do this, right? It's I can post an ad on Craigslist anywhere. Okay, so let's say, I know Atlanta has homeless problems, and Sean's Outpost there, right? But I can post an ad on Craigslist, and I could say, hey, I need someone to make 50 sandwiches, and then, but you have to be willing to take Bitcoin for it. I can get people to create 50 sandwiches, and I can create a separate ad that says, I will pay X amount of dollars for someone to pick up these 50 sandwiches and go deliver these 50 sandwiches to homeless people, and we can make small job ads for doing that. And then functionally, even though I don't know the participants, I can create these components that will both create the food and then distribute the food. Then I can do another ad that says, for $25 worth of Bitcoin, I need someone to show up at X park at X time to document this person doing that, so then we also have the proof of that going on. So I can do that. I can write those 3 ads, right? But technically, I could also write a script that has all those parameters in it that can go out and find areas that have both homelessness, have a Craigslist, and I could automate that process to some degree, where actually we can set something up where you literally just funded it, you just put money in, and then it would trigger when there was enough money to fund the feeding, and then it would start writing ads, start soliciting people. We could use like Mechanical Turk could come on to for people to read the responses, to interact with the people, to select and write. I mean, there's ways to do that kind of stuff. I think we'll start seeing stuff like that. I mean, that's a really heavy-handed, sort of proof of concept idea that we could do that, right? And that's just me talking off the top of my head. But people that actually are good at doing that kind of stuff, could we get them to apply to that, I think we can probably do some really magical stuff on that level.
So my questions are pretty much done. I saw Ross was raising his hand, so I guess we're going to start taking some questions.
Blake?
We were in Texas, you had said that we have a linear increase in the amount of speakers relative to exponential
I don't remember saying that. I'm not quite sure what I meant.
It was late at night.
Yeah, that might be the case.
Do you think we need more speakers as well, or where do you think we sit on the adoption versus the population?
No, I think there are, we were talking about at the time someone had posted on Reddit a request for more centralized control over Bitcoin's PR effort. And my main argument is that centralization of PR in Bitcoin is a ridiculous concept on its face. It's I started doing this because I just wanted to do it, and I started doing it without asking anyone until it happened. And so who is Bitcoin's PR? You are Bitcoin's PR. You just haven't stepped up yet. Some of you have, and then boom, it happens. That's what I said to the Reddit community. I think the same thing applies for charity, which it ties in nicely to the question I asked before, which is how do you get charitable organizations to accept Bitcoin? And probably the simplest way, at least the one that worked for me, was go out and fundraise for them in Bitcoin, and then let them know how much you raised in Bitcoin. And when they're done picking their jaw from the floor, because in 2 days you raised 10 times more than anybody else raised, then they're going to start asking you questions about Bitcoin. About an hour after I posted how much I'd raised in Bitcoin for a charitable run, I got an email, I got a tweet first to get in touch with the national headquarters of the charity, and then I contacted the headquarters of the charity membership organization, and I got an email back from the director of fundraising who said, well, we heard about this Bitcoin thing, we're interested in fundraising in Bitcoin. Can you tell us how we can cash in your donation? It's oh, well, don't worry, I've handled it, I'm sending you a check in dollars, but yeah, we can talk about it. And immediately you had this interest in Bitcoin. And it wasn't really because they were interested in Bitcoin. It was because 10 times more than anybody else raised. And all of us can do that. So I think we can be charity ambassadors by fundraising in Bitcoin, being more successful at it than other members, and then letting the proof speak for itself.